Obviously a nice weekend up there in Georgia for you, depending on how you look at it. From the win standpoint, 2-1, ended with back-to-back wins. From the weather standpoint, not so much, but thoughts overall about your time and the team's experience in Georgia.
Well, the week before being in Kansas and it being as cold as it was in Kansas, I think it definitely made it easier to be in Georgia. It wasn't as cold, but it was still cold. But we did fine. We performed well with the weather. I mean, the weather was fine. It was sunny, so I'm always happy to be outside in the sun. Play-wise, I think we definitely improved the next day after playing Georgia College. We hit some bumps in the road in our matches against Georgia College, but definitely every bump you hit, you want to learn something from it, and I think the girls had immediate were immediately able to put their lessons to work in the next two matches.
So you went 2-5, lost 2-5 to Georgia College and State. Then because of the weather that you mentioned, Augusta gets moved from Thursday to Saturday, so you end up playing back-to-back matches, the Emmanuel 6-1, and then Augusta not 4-2. Overall feelings on those wins and being able to sort of get some momentum coming into that week or finishing out the weekend.
I think it's important to bounce back and remain resilient after a tough loss like Georgia College. We had some really close matches at Georgia College. I think all the matches except for two were 3-setters. And so I think it's in singles. I think it's really important to be able to the next day let it go, move on, and it's a new day, and start fresh. With Emmanuel, they were a solid team. They had some very solid girls, so it wasn't the score says 6-1, but it wasn't just a walkover. Their girls fought, and I think we had a bit of fuel from the day before as far as wanting to win. And then when we got to Augusta was tougher than Emmanuel as far as levels go. And that match was tough. We played to clinch, but it was still a 3-hour, almost 4-hour match. So that lets you know right there that, they fought, and they fought hard. Augusta fought hard. But again, we just really wanted to get some wins under our belt and not come back home 0-3. So I think that was the really most important, the biggest thing for all of our girls was just to come away with some success.
Now, obviously, to lose, only 3 singles matches across Saturdays, 2 total matches. A lot of the girls had to play well and get wins, but Guadi obviously stepped into the number 1 spot this weekend and played very well. Went 5-1 for the weekend, 4-1 on Saturday. Can you talk about her play a little bit?
Guadi's a beast. I mean, she stays focused. She, even her match in Georgia College, she won against Georgia College. She was down 4-1 or 4-0 in the third set against Georgia College, and put her foot on the gas and told herself she wasn't going to lose, and she didn't. And I think that's what really stands out about her is that no matter who she's playing, she feels like she has a chance, an opportunity, as long as she plays her game and as long as she stays mentally tough. And I think she is a great example of what I'm looking for as far as a mentally tough player. When you watch her play, she moves around the court very smoothly. Funny to say, like a gazelle. It's really more just her mindset, and she's really not going to give up. And so it's a great example for the rest of the team, and to look down the court and see her fighting and hear her voice. And I think it's a great example for everybody else to follow as far as, how to fight. And I have nothing but good things to say about Guadi at this point.
Now, you talked about mental toughness a lot there. Away from home a lot to start this season. You had the exhibition before the season started at home, but then I believe it's double-digit matches. I think it's 11 to start the year away from home. First home matches until late in March. How much mental toughness does it take to be able to be on the road that much?
That's a great question. it takes a lot of mental toughness because, you know, you're never in a spot where you can feel comfortable. And, you know, you're not at home, you're not waking up in your own bed, you've probably traveled a long day the day before, or, you know, 2 days before. Maybe we had a practice, you know, before the match, the day before the match. Maybe we got in the day before the match and practice after having a long day of travel. So it's exhausting, I would say, for our girls to you know, to have to travel that long and then get on the court and play. But it's a part of what you sign up for when you're here, and it's also a great opportunity. You know, we get to go to some places that other teams don't get to go to. We are lucky, and I'm very grateful that we're able to fly to Kansas, able to fly to Georgia. It really does make a huge difference as far as, you know, being able to get there and not have the stress on the girls' heads of, you know, coaches driving, you know, all hours. And they stress about it. They do, because they're up in the van as well. So, you know, you do have to be, you know, a bit resilient. You have to be focused. I try to make it as stressless as possible. Meaning that hopefully the only thing that they really have to worry about is getting on the court and playing their match and playing well. Outside of that, you know, you got to stay in shape, rest, recovery. You know, when we get to a place, we try to eat a good meal that has everything that they're supposed to have to be able to fuel their bodies. And then as we get to the courts, we try to maintain a routine that, you know, helps them feel settled in the place that's different, helps them feel like they, you know, are confident and able to focus once they get on the court. And the court, you know, the court's the same size, you know, everywhere. So that's one thing. Once you hit the ball between the lines, it's the same size for her, it's the same size for you. You're dealing with the same background as she is dealing with. And so you just have to go.
It's the same size everywhere. That's a good Hoosiers reference. But this weekend, we talked about travel. You get a weekend off from travel. You don't play again until Monday. Mm-hmm. What's the mindset going forward into practice this weekend, or this week, rather?
This week, we want to get back to the basics. We want to get back in rhythm of practice. Last couple of weeks where we were gone either by Thursday or by Wednesday. Only had really 2 days of practice at that time. And so, you know, we really want to get back to basics of practice and the basics of, you know, work on things that we saw in the 2 weeks before with the heavy travel that we had, and work on those things that, you know, we have an opportunity to work on.
Perfect. Thanks for taking the time, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Jay's up.